that this is a storyline that has been reported pretty widely by quite a few outlets. The wiretapping has been discussed in the New York Times, BBC, Fox News, and we believe that
Sarah,
it should be looked at by the House Intelligence Committee.
I have got to stop you right there. Every single article you just mentioned does not back up the president's claim that President Obama had him wiretapped. Not a single one of those articles backs that up. So what is the president's evidence?
It does back up the fact that the administration was wiretapping American citizens. There was a wide reporting suggesting that his administration, whether it was directly ordered by this president specifically, his administration could have done
Sarah,
this.
I have got to stop you again. No, Sarah, I've got to stop you again because that is simply not true. All the articles you just mentioned, not one of them says that President Trump ordered a wiretap. One of them based on
President
Obama. One of them based on anonymous sources says there might have been a court-ordered FISA wiretap. That has been denied by the former director of national intelligence, James Clapper.
Look, I love how now anonymous sources don't matter anymore. We've been dealing with anonymous sources and having to fight back against that for the last 6 months. It's funny how the media
but Sarah,
now
hold
starts
on a second. Sarah, even if that one is true, that is saying it was a court-ordered wiretap, not an illegal wiretap ordered by President Obama.
Look, it would have been under this administration, George. You don't get to just wash your hands of something, whether it's the Justice Department under which you control, which would have fallen under this administration and under this past president. I think the bigger question here is let's let the House Intelligence Committee do its job, George.
That is not true.
They committed over the weekend.
Sarah, hold on a second. That is not true. There is a world of difference between an illegal wiretap ordered by a president and a court-ordered wiretap approved by a federal judge. There's a world of difference between those two things.
The fact that it was being done is a story that we should be talking about, George. And all we're asking is that we let Congress do its job. Let's let the House Intelligence Committee review this, investigate it, as they committed to do over the weekend. Look, there have been constant allegations. The hypocrisy on this story is absolutely outrageous. We have dealt with this for the last 6 months, where the New York Times calls this story false. The FBI comes out and says it's BS. The House Intelligence Committee says there's no evidence. Yet the people in the media continue to report a false narrative that there are connections between the Trump campaign and the Russians when there simply aren't. All we're asking is the same fair deal here, that the House Intelligence Committee is given the opportunity to investigate, review this, and see if there's anything there,
Sarah,
which we believe there is.
It is not a fact that this has been done. You do not know that it is a fact that this has been done, and that has been denied by President Obama, by the former director of national intelligence, and now we know as well by the FBI director. They are all saying it did not happen. So is the president calling all three of those individuals liars?
Not at all. He's asking that we allow the House Intelligence Committee to do its job the same way we have done on our situation. It's very interesting, George, how when this past president says it's false, everybody's like, oh, well, obviously it is. But when we've been saying it for the last 6 months, nobody believes it. Frankly, George, I think if the president walked across the Potomac, the media would report that he can't swim. This is a constant battle that we're having to fight. All we're asking is that this double standard be washed away and that we allow the congressional committee to do their job.
Sarah, the president made these allegations 48 hours ago. Has he called the FBI director since he made those allegations and asked if they were true?
I don't know that he has talked directly with the FBI director, but I do believe that, again, we go back to, we've put out a statement asking that we allow Congress to do its job and investigate and do a full review of this process.
The president administers the Justice Department. The president administers the intelligence agencies. He can find out for himself. He can ask his FBI director if this is true. He can ask his Justice Department if this is true. He can ask the director of national intelligence if this is true. Has he done that?
Look, I don't know that actually that is the case, George. From my understanding is that there is a process that this has to follow, and in order to go through that process, the first step is a congressional review, and that's what we're asking to take place right now.
But bottom line, the president does not accept the FBI director's denial.
I don't know that he has gotten a firm denial from the FBI.
He does not accept the reporting that the FBI director has said this did not happen. Does the president accept that or not?
The president wants the truth to come out to the American people, and he is asking that it be done through the House Intelligence Committee and that be the process that we go through.
or the Justice Department and the FBI had enough information to get a warrant from a FISA court, and they did that, and they have every authority to do that. So
or a criminal court.
Or a criminal court, you're right. So there's two options, as you've already talked about in your show. So the question is, why on earth would there be an investigation? What are we even talking about here? And the effort to do that, or the proposal to do that by the Trump team, seems to be another in a pattern of calling for an internal or external investigation to move the focus away from the larger issue at hand, which is their connections to Russia.
I mean, Kayleigh, I mean, I do keep coming back to the ease with which the president could just pick up a phone and find out this information if he wanted to.
Yes, he could do that with ease. And I do think that we will get more information on this as the days go by. I don't think the timeline is necessarily suggestive of there being no information. To Congressman Kingston's point, that January 19th New York Times article, the headline was actually "Wiretap Data Used in Inquiry of Trump Aides." Now, I agree with you that perhaps it's not wiretapping of Trump directly. Perhaps it was tapping, a Russian official, and pursuant to that, there were intercepted communications. Perhaps it was tapping someone else within his organization. But it is still an extraordinary concept that even if it was pursuant to a criminal investigation, as Jen suggests, that you would have a sitting Democratic administration.
Right, but we could know this by now. The president could know this by now by picking up the phone if he really believed this. And if he's really that mad about this, he can find out the information. He's the most powerful guy in the United States, in the world.
And he might have that information, though. And I know that his White House has been working to try to figure out this information, get it out there. I just think it's a process.
Right. But if he had that information, why is he saying it's that it's President Obama who did this personally, and why is he calling for congressional investigation to find out when, in fact, he could find out?
But he might be saying. I want to cut to the chase here. The president referred to Watergate here, and Nixon/Watergate. The great thing that happened in Watergate was that the heroes of Watergate were Republicans. They were Republicans in the Senate who unanimously voted to create a select committee to investigate the presidential campaign activities of 1972. And we have seen nothing similar from the Republicans in this, which is to say the creation of a nonpartisan investigation, a bipartisan investigation, a select committee of the Senate of the United States or a special prosecutor that gets to the bottom of this, including President Trump's allegations about his predecessor. That's what's needed here, is a fair, impartial, non- or bipartisan investigation. And it can look at, indeed, what, first of all, there was not the fact that there is no
there was a break-in with what
Jack,
the president.
Jack, that has not. There has been, as we know, an election in the United States, which 16 or 17 intelligence agencies in the United States have said was altered or attempted to be altered by a hostile foreign power. If that's not enough reason to have a select... Let me finish, Jack.
We got to take a break. So, Carl, just finish your thought.
For 1 sec. If that is not enough reason for a select committee of the Senate of the United States to go ahead, there does not need to be a crime, Jack. There have been numerous select investigations. You should know this as a legislator.
Well, also a break-in into a
crime.
I mean, a break into a computer is it doesn't have to be a break into an office anymore. I mean,
Jack,
things have
it's time to get off the talking points. It's time to get real about learning what happened.
These are extremely serious charges the president is making. Where is he getting this information?
Look, I think there have been quite a few reports. I know that Jonathan and others earlier in the program mentioned that it was all conservative media, but that's frankly not true. The New York Times, BBC have also talked about and reported on the potential of this having had happened. I think the bigger thing is, let's find out. Let's have an investigation. If they're going to investigate Russia ties, let's include this as part of it. And so that's what we're asking.
Was the principal source the Breitbart story, which links to the New York Times, but the New York Times doesn't say anything definitive. Donald Trump does. There is nothing equivocating about what he says. I just found out that Obama had my wires tapped. That's not looking into something. He says it happened.
Look, I think the bigger thing is you guys are always telling us to take the media seriously. Well, we are today. We're taking the reports that Places like the New York Times, Fox News, BBC, multiple outlets have reported this. All we're saying is let's take a closer look. Let's look into this. If this happened, if this is accurate, this is the biggest overreach and the biggest scandal.
Look into this. The President of the United States is accusing the former president of wiretapping him.
I think that this is, again, something that if this happened, Martha,
If.
I agree.
Why is the president saying it did happen?
Look, I think he is going off of information that he's seen that has led him to believe that this is a very real potential. And if it is, this is the greatest overreach and the greatest abuse of power that I think we've ever seen, and a huge attack on democracy itself. And the American people have a right to know if this took place.
Do you believe there was a FISA order? And if President Obama didn't order it?
I think there certainly could have been, and it sounds like there's something that we should look into and verify.
Is the Trump administration looking now?
You know, that's a little above my pay grade. I think that that's something that White House counsel would have to answer, but I do think that we owe it to the American people to look into it.
If there is an order, there would have to be probable cause shown before it was granted, evidence of wrongdoing. So isn't the president, by saying this indeed happened, confirming that the investigation had enough evidence to get a FISA order?
Look, I'm not sure if they can create wrongdoing. They've certainly been trying to make the case for it. The FBI has said that this is BS. The House Intelligence Chair has said that there's no evidence of it. But I don't know that that would indicate that intelligence services wouldn't have attempted to see if there was something at that point in October.
And a FISA court order wiretap is highly classified information. Why is it acceptable for the president to just tweet something like that out?
I don't think he's tweeting out classified information. He's talking about, could this have happened? Did this happen? These are reports that you guys in the media have been reporting.
He said it did happen.
Everybody acts like President Trump is the one that came up with this idea and just threw it out there. There are multiple news outlets that have reported this, and all we're asking is that we get the same level of look into the Obama administration and the potential that they had for a complete abuse of power that they've been claiming that we have done over the last 6 months. And time again, it's been said there's no evidence there was wrongdoing. The FBI says this is BS. Yet you guys continue to hammer and hammer of some false idea and false narrative that there's something there when, frankly, there just isn't.
I just want to say Donald Trump started this on Saturday morning.